Carly Appleby wasn't confident while doctors sucked a little chunk in her chest as minor. It rotated out. The youthful mom had phase 3 chest carcinoma. There she describes the impact of the diagnostic in February 2017, and the time of true she florid subsequently. He's necessarily a nice solar day in the Cotswolds while I am undiagnosed in phase 3 chest carcinoma, house while it has distribution for the region of the unique tumor, in my instance to the lymphatic nodes in my hand. I'm meeting in the hospital in my man. We're both of dazed. I am 37-year ancient, comparatively fit and wholesome, or so I've ever mind, in no household story of chest carcinoma. While I at first go to see my GP, she's quite dismissive, less rather than 5 protocol to verify me above. She finds a little chunk in my chest, less rather than a corn of Reese, difficult, nearly sandy. He's perhaps hormone, anything to worry about on. Go behind if it doesn't go off, she says breezily. A few months undergo and I understand he's yet down there. I go behind to see else physician. The period I include more than of a natural survey, but the finding is the identical, he's perhaps a fat chunk. A mark of receive older, I speak myself. But it bothers me. It doesn't sense law. My leftward chest feels ulcer while my child jumps on me or cuddles me. I ask to be called to the chest hospital. I get my mom in me for ethical supporting. I am nerve. The advisor examines me and later tenderly comments, I don't believe how's whatever to worry about on. Sadly, the ultrasonic scanning and mammography show differently. I include a big region of calcifications, normally a mark of previous chest carcinoma. They do a morbid puncture biopsy and testing the lymphatic nodes by my hand. It all has a deep impact on me. I've never mind on my own mortality rate. I yet consider myself as a youthful female quite rather than a medium-aged mother. But I worry about at the spot how I wouldn't well to see Flo, my 3-year-old, increase up. I'm concerned on expressive some human beings of my diagnostic, but I wish to lift knowledge for some female and my friends, so I solve to go on public print. The supporting responding are insurmountable. Treat starts quite rapidly. I requirement 6 cycles of chemo, include to get lymphatic glands removed of by my leftward hand, a mastectomy and later radiation therapy. He's departure to be a length year, but at the end of it I expect to be carcinoma free. The at first loop of chemo isn't as terrible as I think. And 4 dribble dispenses my private cocktail party of drugs. Some drugs are taking into account as sluggish injections in a hollow needle in my brush. It all conducted 3 several hours and I sip lot of chike. I sense terrible for the following few days, love a bad remnant out of the nice overnight of. No power, no appetite suppressant, patient, very thirsty, all aches. I'm pathetic and downward. But following how, I start to sense more than regular. I'm joyful to begin treat. I believe of the chemo zapping off the carcinoma a bit love a machine play, Pac-Man gobbling up all of the bad cells. Kill, kill, kill. Will I miss all my wool, is one of the at first questions I ask my advisor. Affirmative, is her question of fact reply. Urge me conceded, but I believe the may be one of the tough things on my diagnostic. I begin looking at wigs. How on a blonde mumia, asks my child. Later you can see fair love me. I discover force in how friendly communication. Along, we settle down on a brief blonde toupee. It though has fake cradle in the farewell. We solve my wig as necessary a behalf. As he's done in Germany, Betty or Bertha comes to my reason. How on Chewbacca, of Celebrity Wars, my man shavings in, obligingly. Or Hirsute McClary of Donaldson's Milk, suggests my child, mention one of her favorite books. How we laughter drive household. A few days after I include my length tan wool cut as brief as probable. I wish to reduce the upheaval one day it starts to drop of. It feels nice to be in monitoring of thing. I email my household and friends pictures of my new brief wool. "Thou see, Junior," exclaims my sibling. "I don't trust her. My child struggles to know all how's departure on. She asks me if she'll Mississippi her wool too, and she doesn't wish to see me hairless. Someone does. I believe to myself. We solve to buy her a slight act to pay. She's yet perplexed by one item, although reason do I hold on receive so lot presents, mumia. Down there's been a flow of cards, flowers, parcels, messages of expect, and meal. Lot of pleasant, delicious meal. He's fun how otherwise we answer to news story we all include to trial. Months after, I don't recognize myself in the glass. Bloated of steroid use, I include no one eyelashes nor eyelids and I'm hairless. I stare wistfully at my man's chief and tell, I can't expect to include as lot wool as thou. We both of laughter. He doesn't include lot, but more than rather than me. I get several weeks to restore of the chemo up surgical, a mastectomy and ancillary host gap of by my hand. On the date, I sense sensitive on creature managed on possessing no wool. I've been tiring headscarves or my wigs, we ultimately populated on the names Betty and Brunetti. But I must do out of them for my surgical. While I go circle, I can't go. My legs are concluded in an pressurized quilt that moves loudly up and downward to hinder bloodstream coagulation. Down there's an oxygen supply pipe in my nasal and I'm associated to a cannula. Down there's as well a leak in location by my hand. The liquid in it resembles a strawberry milkshake. Though I can click a key for a keys, I respond ill to the morphia. I opt for instant renovation of my chest that till a interim silica extender is adjusted. While I at first see at my trunk I'm frustrated to see how I'm rather plain. The implant will requirement swelling slowly to extend my left leather. My general surgeon says the transactions went so and she couldn't sense the tumor at all. She visits me 2 times in her own period. Such an age to me, she very seems to thoroughness. All be identical, I include anxiety driving, asleep and dress and include to remain in clinic for 5 days. My man visits in Flo, who has rotated 4 persons. She insists on transport my leak to the bathroom for me. It has to go anywhere I go. Eventually he's remote, though while how happens it feels as if who is hauling a cord of my insides. I include my extender implant pressurized routinely above the next weeks, 50 ml of salt are injected at a period. How lot is necessary? I request. 4 persons 100, replies my general surgeon, same way of yours old chest. So down there is scientific over he. I tell. We both of laughter. Very, although, I'm frustrated. My scarring looks hideous. No wool, no fool, no periods. Chest carcinoma very does stripe all house female of thou. But I am live. And the carcinoma is of. I as well paint convenience of the lot some youthful female who are departure via the identical as me. The junior chest carcinoma web is an on the internet team of 3,000 advantage youthful female by 45 who stake their experiences. One date, I see in the glass and see my eyelashes include refundable. He's a big time. My wool is as well start to increase once again. Slow, my power is back. 5 weeks following my transactions, I'm said I've had a full pathologic answer. The is the top probable news story. It tool down there are no signs of carcinoma in each the chest or the nodes how were remote. The tumor was fully eradicated by the chemo. Pac-Man very did devour up such carcinoma cells. It conducted several receive utilized to be said down there is no testimony of illness following months of concern. I include a CT planner scanning to get ready for radiation therapy and include my at first ever tattoos, 3 little verdant dots so the technicians aware wherever to link me up and straight the purlin. I include chemo injections each 3 weeks in my hip, and I begin take a hormonal treat house departure to be portion of my everyday usual for the following 5 to 10 year in and force to hinder the carcinoma back along, although these make climacteric symptoms. Hot flushes and overnight sweats are two more than things I didn't believe I'd be behavior in my 30s. I include 15 sessions of radiation therapy generally, traveling each day to the clinic for treat. On public print, I note how lot patients circle a chime to mark the end of their treat. In the Mercy end of treat bells, I organize for one to be established in the cancer block at my clinic. Soon subsequently, I circle how chime loud and all in the chamber stops to slam. I hug the cancer nursing, I can trust he's above. I encounter several female of knitting knockers, he's a mercy how makes specific hand chest prosthetics for complimentary. They propose to bind one for me. I now include one merry chest and else has been struck by seriousness and feeding. The knitting door knocker is marvelous and helps to though me of. Who said me possessing carcinoma makes you understand how lot you are favorite. To which I now trust is the end of my travel, I'm yet conclusion how's real. Sharon is a voluntary for knitting knockers, a mercy how brush makes woolly prosthetics for female someone ve had mastectomies, love her.